Hello friends, glad to meet you all in this new video. In this session, we will learn the textual comprehension, grammar and vocabulary of Unit 2 of the 10th Standard English textbook, SSC Board, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Before I start the session, I have a request. Please check if you have subscribed. If not, please subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. On to the session now. The Dear Departed Part 1. This is the Part A. On to the question and answers. Answer the following questions. What qualities of Mrs. Slater have you noticed? I have noticed that Mrs. Slater is dishonest, selfish, impolite, and insensitive, and that she can do any amount of straight talking to get her own way. This means she can do anything to make people do what she wants them to do. So that way, Mrs. Slater is very dominating and very commanding. On to the second question. Why does Mrs. Slater decide to shift the bureau from her father's room before the arrival of the Jordans? So we know Slater, that is Mrs. Slater, plans to get the bureau down before the Jordans arrive. What's the reason? And how does Henry react to the suggestion? Here we go with the answer. Mrs. Slater wants to own her father's bureau as she likes it very much. She is very fond of the bureau. She wants to have it for herself. As the Jordans are not aware of the bureau, she wants to shift it before their arrival so that she can create an impression that it belongs to her and not to Abel Merriweather. So we know that Slater, that is Mrs. Slater, and Mrs. Jordan, that is Elizabeth, both of them had had a big quarrel before, and Elizabeth had not come to the house of Mrs. Slater for a long time. So she doesn't know that Abel had bought this bureau. And that is the reason why Mrs. Slater wants to get the bureau down. She wants Elizabeth to think that it belongs to Amelia only. It is not the thing of Abel Merriweather and it is not shifted from upstairs. So she wants to do it before their arrival so that she would think that the bureau belongs to Amelia only. As the Jordans are not aware of the bureau, she wants to shift it before their arrival so that she can create an impression that it belongs to her and not to Abel Merriweather. Henry hesitates to go with Amelia and suggests that she needs to speak about it to her sister and get it in a fair way. So Henry, that is Mr. Slater, he is not willing to cooperate with Mrs. Slater and he suggests that she should talk about it with Elizabeth Jordan and then take the bureau. On to the third question. Why do the Jordans take a long time to get to the house of the Slaters? What does it show about the two sisters' attitude towards each other? So we know that the Jordans are very late in coming. What's the reason? I think the Jordans have bought new morning dresses, so they are late. So in the foreign countries, there's a habit, that is when they go for some sad occasion, they wear the morning dress, that is a black dress. So here we see that the Jordans are in new dress. That means they had bought the dress and that is why they were late to the occasion. And then what does it show about the two sisters' attitude towards each other? What is the attitude between them? Both the sisters are competing and comparing with each other. They are both competing with each other as well as comparing each other. There is no love and affection between them. There is no sisterly love and affection between them. On to the fourth question. Ben appreciates his father-in-law, saying it's a good thing he did it. Later, he calls him a drunken old beggar. Why does he change his opinion about his father-in-law? Ben appreciates his father-in-law when he thinks that Abel had gone out to pay his insurance premium on the day of his death. But when he comes to know that he had not paid the premium, he changes his opinion about his father-in-law, as he has no personal gains with the demise of his father-in-law. Demise means death. That is, first he thinks that he had paid the insurance premiums, then he felt that he can get some money from that. Later on he got to know that Abel had not paid the premium of the insurance, so he tells him as a drunken old beggar. On to the fifth question. What made Mr. Henry feel shocked to hear Victoria say, "Are you planning to pinch it?" Why was Henry shocked? Yes, Mr. Henry was shocked to see that Victoria had wisdom beyond her age. Now, Victoria was a small girl, and she having that much of thinking capability was very shocking for Henry. He did not expect her to ask such a question, as he considered her just as a child. He thought that she might be very innocent. But here we see Victoria had a lot of wisdom. That's all for Dear Departed Part 1. On to Dear Departed Part 2. The first question. Justify the view that the husbands of Mrs. Slater and Mrs. Jordan are men with no individuality. The husbands of Mrs. Slater and Mrs. Jordan just follow their wives' instructions. When Mrs. Slater asks Henry to wear the slippers of Abel, he wears them even though they are tight for him. He even helps her to shift the bureau. Then on to Mr. Jordan. What does he do? Ben always goes hand in hand with the opinion of Elizabeth. When she says that the golden watch was gifted to Jimmy and proposes to have tea before visiting Abel, he just agrees with her. So this way we find that Mr. Slater and Mr. Jordan are men with no individuality. They always agree with their wives' decisions. On to the second question. Discuss the irony in the title, The Dear Departed. Irony. Irony is a figure of speech in which you say something and you mean the opposite of it. That is called the irony. What's the irony in this title, The Dear Departed? The irony in the title, The Dear Departed, is that Abel does not seem to be dear to his daughters or anyone. Here it's given dear departed. That means the one who has departed. Departed means gone away. The one who has gone away is very dear to someone. But here we see that Abel is not dear to even his daughters. So this is an irony here. No one is mourning for him. On to the third question. List the arguments the two sisters gave to keep their father in their care. When Abel declares that he is going to change his will, leaving all his property to whoever he is living with, Elizabeth says that he needs to come with her as she would make him feel comfortable. Amelia requests him to continue to stay with her and promises to take better care of him. Both the sisters invite him so that they can inherit his property, so that they can take his property. They both are insisting that he should live with them. On to the fourth question. How does the quarrel between the old man's daughters lead to father discovering the truth? The spat between the two sisters, or the quarrel between the two sisters, revealed that Amelia had mistaken Abel to be dead and had pinched the bureau and the clock, and that Elizabeth had agreed to have tea before having a look at Abel. Abel understood that his daughters were much bothered about his property rather than him. So here we see that during the quarrel, both the sisters had forgotten to keep their secrets, and both of them were revealing each other's secrets, trying to make each one better than the other one. They wanted to get a good impression from their father, so they are pushing the other one down. In this way, Abel got to know that Both of them were much bothered about his property rather than him. On to the fifth question. List the comic elements in the play The Dear Departed. What is the comedy part in this play? The comic scenes in the play are Amelia thinking that Abel is dead. Abel was sleeping. She thought he was dead. This is a comedy. Amelia forcing Henry to wear the new slippers of Abel even though they are very tight to him. Amelia pinching the bureau and the clock. All of them having tea before visiting Abel. And everyone trying to manage the situation when Abel comes down. They are trying to cover up. They are trying to conceal the thing that they had mistaken that Abel was dead. They were all trying to conceal the secret that they had mistaken that Abel was dead. All of them getting scared, thinking him to be a ghost. When Victoria goes to get the keys of the bureau and Abel comes down, each one is scared. They are thinking that he is the ghost. They want to check whether he is the ghost or the real Abel Merriweather. This is a comic scene. On to the sixth question. In what way is the play The Dear Departed a commentary on the hollowness of human relationships? Hollowness means emptiness. The play Dear Departed shows the absence of love and affection among the sisters and the growing greed of the daughters for their father's property. Here we see the disappearance of moral values and ethics. On to the seventh question. What are the three things that the father plans to do on Monday next? What effect does it have on his daughters? The three things that the father plans to do on Monday next are: firstly, to go to the lawyer and alter his will. Alter means change, make some changes in his will. Secondly, to go to the insurance office and pay the premium. And thirdly, to go to St. Philip's Church and get married. Then what effect does it have on his daughters? Both of his daughters are highly disappointed. They regretted for the spat between them and realized how wrong it was on their part to desire for the property rather than value the human relationships. On to the next bit. Arrange the following sentences in sequence so that a continuous narrative of the story of the Dear Departed could be made. Here I would like to read the sentences in the right order. The first sentence would be, one day Mrs. Slater felt that Abel Merriweather had died. The second sentence would be, the Slater sent a telegram to the Jordans about the death of Abel Merriweather. The third sentence would be, before the arrival of the Jordans, the Slaters had pinched Abel's bureau and clock. The fourth sentence would be, the Slaters and the Jordans wanted to ascertain if Abel Merriweather had paid his insurance premium. The next one would be, Victoria was sent to Abel Merriweather's room to bring the key bunch of the bureau. And the next sentence would be, suddenly Victoria came into the room telling that grandfather was moving. And the next sentence would be, Abel Merriweather found fault with the two daughters and wanted to change his will. And the final sentence would be, Abel Merriweather informed that he was going to marry Mrs. John Shorrocks. Here is a list of traits of a personality. Take the traits that describe Mrs. Slater's character. Here, I have made the traits which describe the character of Mrs. Slater. I have made them in green color. Here we go. Mrs. Slater was greedy, overpowering, dominating, blunt, straight-talking, impolite, and insensitive. She was not honest or sensitive or humble. On to the next bit. The following are the features of a one-act play. Which of the following characteristics does the play The Dear Departed have? Justify. The first feature is minimal characters. Minimum number of people acting in the play. Yes, as there are just 6 characters in the entire play, this feature comes true in this play. Single setting or unity of place. Yes, the entire story takes place in the house of Mrs. Slater in the play. Thus, the characteristics of single setting is maintained in the play. One act with one or more scenes. Yes, the whole play is in 2 scenes. Focus on one incident. The story revolves around the death of Abel Merriweather and the relationship between the sisters. Hence, the focus is on one incident. Limited time. The play lasts for just half an hour. So, it also features the feature of limited time. Twist ending. Abel says that he is going to change his will and marry John Sherlock. This is an unexpected twist in the story. So this condition also, this play is in acceptance with. It goes hand in hand with all the conditions that ought to be there in a one-act scene. On to the vocabulary part. Here, today's concept is compound adjectives. On to the exercise now. Here are some words in list A and some words in list B. We need to make them into compound adjectives. Here, new, and it matches with lay, so it becomes newly laid. Cold, cold-blooded. 4-day, curly-headed, well-read, half-sunk, 5-star, peacock blue, long-lasting. Now we need to use these compound adjectives in the sentences appropriately. Sindhu is very clear-sighted about her choice. The headmaster suggested a 4-day trip to Hyderabad. The curly-headed girl who is under the tree is my sister. All the people were shocked at the sight of this cold-blooded murder. After the terrible tempest, the half-sunk sailing boat was unusable. Prasad booked a room in a 5-star hotel for Srikanth. Every week, newly laid eggs are used by my mother to make some wonderful cakes. The peacock blue coat is too large for me. It was a long-lasting war between the English and the French. I like to correspond with this well-read teacher. She speaks about interesting topics. On to the next bit, words often confused. Here are some words given. We ought to find their meanings and find out the other word which is likely to be confused with the given word. Then find their meanings and use them in our own sentences. And we ought to show the difference in the meaning. The first one, alter. Alter means to make some changes. Example, I gave my dress to the tailor to alter. Altar. Table used in religious places. We kept our offerings near the altar. The second one, principal. Head of a school or college. Our principal is very kind-hearted and compassionate. Principle. Set of rules. He has got high moral principles. Gate. The opening or closing material near the entrance. Please lock the gate at night. Gait, the way of walking. Example, his gait is very slow. Canvas, a strong cloth used to make tents. When we went for a camp, we made our tents with canvas. Canvas, to promote a political party or group. They went for the canvassing during elections. Check, to assess or observe if something is correct or not. The invigilator checked the students thoroughly before the exam. Check, CHEQUE, check, a draft used to encash. A check of 1,000 rupees was given as a gift for his sincerity. Ceiling, 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 the roof part from the inside of a house. I have decorated my ceiling with good lighting. Sealing, SEALING, sealing means hunting seals. He likes a ceiling. Compliment, COMPLEMENT, something that makes a good combination. Jam is an excellent complement for bread. Compliment, a word of praise or appreciation. My teacher complimented me when I helped a blind man cross the road. This is COMPLIMENT. Stationary, STATIONARY, that means standing at the same place. It's highly impossible to be stationary for a long time. Stationery, STATIONERY, materials used for writing. I buy stationery from that shop. All ready, prepared fully. Example, the students were all ready for the drill. Already, before itself. We are already late. Hurry up. On to the next one, advice. ADVICE, advice. Suggestions or instructions. This is the noun form. My grandma gives me good advice. ADVICE, that means to give advice. This is a verb form. The doctor advised him to avoid oily food. On to the next paragraph. Here it contains some errors in words often confused. We ought to correct them and rewrite the paragraph, replacing them with the right words. I just go with the correction here. It was one of those October days, DAZE. That is the incorrect one. Instead of DAZE, DAYS should be used. When it was a pleasure to be alive. The sky was blue. Blue is wrong here. BLEW is the past tense of BLOW, blow. But here the correct word should be BLUE, blue. The sky was blue and the hair, HEIR, hair means heirloom. That is the son, the inheritor of someone's property is called a heir. Here it's incorrect. Here instead of HEIR, AIR, air must be used. Was cold and sharp with a scent, CENT, scent means 100. CENT is incorrectly used. Instead of it, SCENT, scent means perfume. SCENT, scent means perfume. Scent of wet earth as a morning. Here MOURNING, mourning means feeling sad for someone's death. That is called mourning. That's incorrect. Instead of it, MORNING, morning should be used. Morning sun warmed the chilled countryside. And then I caught sight. S-I-T-E. Sight means place. That is incorrect. Instead of S-I-T-E, S-I-G-H-T. Sight must be used. I caught sight of a lonely bee. B-E. B is incorrect here. Instead of B-E, B-E-E. Bee. The honey bee. B-E-E. Bee must be used. I caught sight of a lonely bee struggling to find the pollen of a final flower. F-L-O-U-R. Flower means the ground part of the whatever the wheat or the bajra, ragi and all. You make them into flour. That is, you make them into a powder. That is called flour. Instead of flour, F-L-O-W-E-R. Flour should be used. Where had he been? W-E-A-R. Where means to wear some dress. That's incorrect. Instead of it, W-H-E-R-E. Where should be used. Where had he been? B-E-A-N. Bean means the vegetable bean. Yeah. So here it is incorrect. Instead of bean, B-E-A-N. Bean, B-E-E-N. Bean should be used. Where had he been, this sad worker, doomed so soon to die? D-Y-E, die means to color something. That's incorrect here. Instead of D-Y-E, D-I-E must be used. I marveled at his energy as he climbed along so many bear stalks. B-E-A-R, bear. Bear means to bear something, to tolerate something. That's incorrectly used. Instead of B-E-A-R, B-A-R-E, bear. Bear means without. So many bear stalks without something is called bear. Barefoot you call it. If you don't wear slippers, you call barefoot. Finding nothing, he flew. F-L-U-E. That's incorrect. Instead of F-L-U-E, F-L-E-W must be used. Flew on and disappeared from sight. C-I-T-E. Again, it should be S-I-G-H-T. C-I-T-E means to give some examples, cite some examples as a proof for something. We tell C-I-T-E. I continued my work to a country in where, sitting outside, I contentedly sipped my beer, musing all the while on the mixed fortunes of life. W-I-L-E, while is incorrect. Instead of it, W-H-I-L-E must be used. On to the next bit, idiomatic expressions. Here is a list of idioms and idiomatic expressions used in the play The Dear Departed. Guess their meanings, then look them up in the dictionary. Note down their meanings and use them in your sentences. Get one's own way. That means make others to accept what you want to do. Example, rude people get their own way to implement their ideas. For ages. For ages means for a long time. Britishers had ruled India for ages. The third one, set foot. Set foot means to enter a place. I want to set foot on the moon. Next one, drive a hard bargain. Try hard to make things in one's favor. Example, some people drive a hard bargain to buy things at a low cost. Get rid of. Get rid of means to dispose or avoid or come out of. Thank God, I got rid of the fear of exams. Give way. Give way means to stop resisting, to stop avoiding. Never give way to bad habits. At length. At length means in detail. Example, the professor explained the concept at length. On purpose means wantedly. Example, he started the quarrel on purpose. Took by surprise, that is to surprise someone. My daddy took me by surprise when he bought a piano for me. At a loss, unable to understand how to react. The child was at a loss when he was lost in a village fair. On to the grammar part. Here we have the word enough. In a sentence, enough is used after adjectives, adverbs or verbs as an adverb and before nouns as a determiner. Determiner means adjective. So whenever it is used in front or before the nouns, it acts as an adjective. Whenever it's used after adjectives or after adverbs or after verbs, it acts as an adverb. Now decide whether enough in the following sentences is used as an adjective or an adverb. This house is not big enough for me. It acts as an adverb. We didn't leave early enough. Here again it acts as an adverb. It is used after early. Early is an adverb. It was not trained enough for the game. So it's used after the verb. So here also it acts as an adverb. Is there enough room for me? Now here you see it is used in front of a noun. Room is a noun. So it acts as an adjective. I do not have enough clothes for my journey. Here also you see it is used, enough is used before the noun clothes. So here also it acts as an adjective. Complete the following sentences using enough or not enough and one of the words given in the list below. Harish wants to get a great wrestler. Harish wants to be a great wrestler, but he is not strong enough. I want to sit and watch TV, but I just don't have enough time. He tried to win the race, but he came third as he was not fast enough. This bath is freezing. The water is not warm enough. We had to sleep on the floor as there were not enough beds. There is not enough water to make a cup of tea. What's wrong with the pipes? If Sujata does not have enough money, I can lend her. Vasavi is not old enough to become a member of this club. She must be at least 18 years of age to join. Is this coffee sweet enough for you? Would you like some more sugar? Do you think he has studied hard enough to pass the entrance exam? This is the usage of enough. Now we go with the use of articles a, an and the. Here are some instructions, some rules wherein the article the is not used in the primary sense. Here we have a paragraph. We ought to edit the paragraph inserting a, an and the wherever it is needed. A horse knows when he is going to the race. How does he know? His breakfast was scanty. He does not have a saddle on his back. He is being led, not ridden to the grandstand. He is led under the grandstand into an unusual special stall. The horse is nervous. Now, in the first sentence we used a horse because it was unfamiliar. But after we spoke about the horse once, in the next sentence we use the horse because it is familiar to us. The horse is nervous. Sometimes it does not know what to do when the starting gate flies open and the track is before him. If he does not begin to run instantly, other horses are already ahead of him. During the race, when he sees another horse just ahead of him, he will try to pass him. Sometimes a jockey holds him back to save his energy for the last stretch. Eventually, the horse gets to run as fast as he can. The exercise boy, watching the owner's favorite jockey riding the horse he has exercised day after day, says nothing. Secretly, he is planning for the day when he will be a jockey himself and his horse will be the first. So, first is superlative degree. Before that, you say the first, the one and only. Whenever you use superlative degree or the one and only thing, you use the article the. And his horse will be the first to cross the finish line. The next paragraph again, I am reading the edited one for you. I have a horse of my own. I call her Pretty Girl. She is an intelligent I starts with a vowel. So an intelligent animal, but she is not a thoroughbred horse. I could never enter her in a race even if I wanted to. But I do not want to. She is a companion for my own pleasure. I take her swimming a day or two ago. I took her swimming a day or two ago. On to the next bit. Fill in the blanks with the right words given in the brackets against each blank. It was winter. The ponds were all frozen. At the court, Akbar asked Birbal, "Tell me, Birbal, will a man do anything for money?" Birbal replied, "Yes." The emperor ordered him to prove it. The next day, Birbal came to the court along with a poor Brahmin who merely had a penny left with him. Here we ought to look at the tense and then answer it correctly. On to the next bit, compound prepositional phrases. Here are some compound prepositional phrases and the meanings are also given. We ought to use them in our own sentences. The first compound prepositional phrase, along with. Along with means together with. On account of means because of. By means of means through the agency of. Apart from means separate from. Ahead of means earlier than somebody or something. In front of, located before. In place of, as a substitute for. In spite of, disregarding the difficulty. In case of, in the event of. By way of means via. Due to, on account of. For the sake of, for the good of. In addition to, added to. In accordance with means in agreement with. Now we are going to use these compound prepositional phrases in our own sentences. The child went along with his mother. On account of Diwali, tomorrow is a holiday. He got a job by means of a consultancy. Apart from academics, he is good at everything. We need to update our knowledge to be ahead of others. My house is in front of the railway station. You can use jaggery in place of sugar. In spite of the rain, the match continued. In case of emergency, you can call 100. This train goes by way of Kurnool. Due to frequent floods, they migrated. I worked hard for the sake of the growth of my institution. In addition to dance, she learned singing. In accordance with the new rules, the school starts at 8:30 a.m. On to the next bit. Fill in each blank with the correct compound prepositional phrase from the options given under each sentence. I finished my project work several days ahead of the deadline, before the deadline. Shravani goes to school along with Yamuna daily. My house stands apart from all the other houses in the street as it is in big size. Madhu got a good job by means of his own abilities and skills. She was unable to attend the party due to her marriage engagement. In case of fire, ring the alarm bell. Sriram continued his batting carefully for the sake of his team, though he was hungry. You should complete your B.Ed in addition to your BSc to get a teacher job. The physical director of our school selected me in place of my friend Ganesh for tomorrow's match. In spite of his poverty, he completed his PhD in English. On to part C, the brave potter. The first question, what did the tiger think the mysterious creature was? The tiger thought that the mysterious creature was the leek. The tiger thought that the mysterious creature was the leek. Why did he allow himself to be bound around the neck with a thick rope? The tiger thought that the mysterious creature was a leek, which he had assumed to be terrifying, dangerous, and more powerful than him. The strange creature warned him that he would kill him as he had run away. In a fear that he would be killed if he did not obey, he allowed himself to be bound around the neck with a thick rope. So you all know the potter came in search of his donkey and he thought the tiger to be the donkey and he started abusing it, kicking it, hitting it and all. And the tiger was already in a frightened state because the woman had said that she better live with a tiger in the house rather than the leek in the house. So here in this frightened situation, the tiger thought that the person, that is potter, is the leek, which he had misunderstood as a mighty creature, a monster as such. Actually, she meant the leak from the roof, that is the rain coming inside the roof. That is what she told. On to the second question. What made the potter angry? As it was about to rain, he wanted to take the donkey into the stable, but he found that his donkey was missing. This made him angry. So he went in search of his donkey. As he was in a drunken state and it was dark and wet, he stumbled over roots and fallen branches. This made him even more angry. Why did the king make the potter the general of the army? Why was the potter made as the general of the army? What's the reason? A war broke out between the potter's kingdom and a stronger neighbor. So the king needed a valiant hero. Valiant means very brave hero, very courageous hero to lead his army. As he got to know about the potter who had captured a tiger with his bare hands means without any weapons, just with his hands he has captured the tiger. So what the king felt? He felt that the potter is the right person and made him the general of the army. The king thought that when this person can capture a tiger with just his bare hands, he can definitely lead my army and give me victory. Moreover, my enemies are very stronger than me. So if I have such a hero as the general of the army, definitely my army will win the war. On to the fourth question. Why do you think the sentry feels that the potter is a giant? Looking at the potter galloping towards them with a tree in a single hand, the enemies got frightened of him. They thought that he would surely kill them as he had already captured a tiger with his bare hands. On to the fifth question. Do you think that the potter is really brave or lucky? Give your reasons. I think the potter is lucky. The coincidences that happen in favor of the potter make him famous and appear to be a great person. Actually, the potter was not brave at all. All that was in favor of him was his luck, his fortune. That is what made him a great person. That is what made him so famous all around. On to the sixth question. What is the most humorous and thrilling incident in the story? Write the incident and say why it is humorous and thrilling. The most humorous and thrilling incident in the story is a potter fainting, looking at the tiger tied to the tree. Now, write the incident. On a rainy evening, the potter's donkey had run away. So the potter, who was in a drunken state, went in search of it, and at the same time a tiger had taken shelter in a hut. And the tiger was in a frightened state. It was thinking that a leak was a monster and that it would kill him. At this moment, the potter reached there and mistook the tiger to be his donkey and bet it very hard and started riding over it. The tiger thought that the brave potter was the leak. The tiger thought that the potter was the leak and allowed him to hit it. The potter rode on the tiger and reached his home and tied it up to the tree. Early in the morning, all the people praised and thanked the potter for capturing the tiger. Out of surprise, when he went to check, he got a shock of his life and he fainted and fell down. It is quite humorous because the potter himself was unaware of what was happening around him. Hope this session was useful to you in comprehending the lesson. Thank you for watching and have a great day ahead. Hope you will share with your friends and click the like button. Thank you and have a nice day.